Hello, everyone. Welcome to another 90 Day Fiance chat. This is Irene, CBiz Media, where we talk faith, love, and trends. 90 Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples, one from the U.S., the other from another country. We see their different relationship challenges, from long distances to language barriers, cultural boundaries, and the whole legal ramifications of marrying in another country, getting that K1 visa. This is 90 Day Fiance. Is it love or is it for the visa? Sometimes it can be a little bit of both. So, we are talking again about this reality show. So, let's get into these couples for this recent episode recap. Now, with Sarper and Shekinah, they wake up to their morning protein shakes. He says it's pretty good, but they talk about the meeting that they had the other night with the friends, and Sarper basically says it was cool except for one little French detail, which is Dan. And they also kind of joke about how Dan calls him Sopper instead of Sarper. Is it Sopper or Sarper? Uh, Sarper compares him to a French poodle versus himself being the German Shepherd. I can see that. But Shekinah is proud of him for his behavior and how he didn't stoop low to Dan's little tactics. But next time he says he will clap back. They decide to go. It's still morning time. They decide to go make the bed, so to speak. I think they're going to make it in the bed. Whatever the case, they're up the stairs. Glad we don't have to see that part. Now, Sarper comes along for a surprise meeting she's going to have with her daughter who's away at boarding school. She doesn't have the best view of Sarper because he had a negative encounter with Shekinah's sister when they both were up in his country of Turkey, and he wasn't on his best behavior. He said some negative things about Shekinah. He used some words that I wouldn't use for a woman. It was a bad look. So this is all that the daughter really knows. Of course, she knows what her mom says, but according to her aunt, it doesn't seem like he's the best guy. So so it's kind of a secret that he's even there. It looks like they may be in an Airbnb, and it's really nice Airbnb. The view is beautiful. They're enjoying the look of everything. But now mom is off to get mother and daughter petties with her daughter, and hopefully she could convince her to come meet Sarper and just kind of get to know him because they don't have much time for this 90-day process. So after the mani petties, the daughter decides to give Sarper a meet, give him a chance for mom's sake. She hopes it's not like her mom's past relationships, but she realizes that the marriage and everything is serious, and that's because they're trying to head toward marriage and they only have 90 days. So the daughter's willing to give a chance to Sarper and meet him one-on-one. So Shekinah's really happy about that. I noticed how beautiful her daughter is, and when I put her next to Shekinah and I see all the work that Shekinah's done, I feel bad because I feel like she could have had the natural beauty that her daughter has, and I just don't like the juxtaposition of all of the work done. It probably takes away from the fact that they're relatives because they don't get to look alike because of the work that was done. Whatever the case, hoping the best for this situation and for this hopefully new family to be with Sarper and Shekinah. Now let's talk about Matt, Amani, and Ani. They're in a 65-year-old classic car that takes the group to a private winery tour. They're like living in the lap of luxury on this vacation trip to get to know Ani better, meet her family, and all of that. But everything just seems like a little bit too perfect as far as all these beautiful amenities. But the scene is still a bit awkward since their last discussion on the throuple rules that they need to make. They made them, I guess. Amani feels they are at their best, but love is not equal between them. She feels betrayed that Ani and Matt bonded and slept together without her. Also, that she is a secret to her family while Matt is seen as the boyfriend. So she confronts Ani on at least, you may not want to tell everybody you're in a throuple, but at least declare that you're in a serious relationship. So she says she's not ready yet, and Amani kind of storms off. She's in tears. Matt eventually goes after her. Then finally, Ani comes, and though she felt forced and pressured, Ani decides to declare her love to her, and she says that she will tell her family, anyone that she wants. She'll tell everyone. I think it was just to appease her, but she said Ani lets us know she's not ready, and she's trying to protect herself and says that she can't control her just because they have money, and she can take care of herself. Ani and Amani have another confrontation while Matt is just bewildered. He's like, that didn't go well. And, Amani just kind of cusses him out and says, well, you're no help. And he doesn't know what to do. So in the confrontation the two have together, Ani admits that she actually loves Amani more. And this is what Amani wants to hear, but she fears she's just saying that because she knows that's what she wants to hear. I feel like Ani's playing both sides. This is like a horrible adult film that's being played out for us right now without all of the details that I don't need to see. Amani is a nightmare, and I think she's the devil. All right, now, so we're with Stevie and Maddie. They're going to the gym, and Maddie's never been to a co-ed gym. He says in Iran, they must just be against anything that turn people on because they just have all the rules set up where you can't get turned on by anything, and maybe they're nervous if you're at a co-ed gym, you see a girl bending over, that this is going to be a temptation. He's not comfortable working out beside other women because of that scenario that he's lived with his whole life in his country. A young lady comes next to him to start working out, and I think she asked him a question, and I think he was kind of turned on by her. I think he was kind of semi-checking this young lady out, but he said he was uncomfortable. Then, Stevie comes over, and, I think she asked about the girl a little bit, but it wasn't like in a jealous way. But I could feel she felt some type of vibe about it. But he asked her later on, would it be okay if I was a personal trainer and I worked with women? And she said, well, the women here kind of take what they want. They're a little flirty. It's a little bit different than your country. I don't know. What would you do? And he was like, say, well, if they do start trying to flirt with me, I would say I'm married. And she said, that's a good start. Then she asked, how would you feel if I painted men? He says, well, with all of the blue paintings that you have of women in your house, are you into women? And she's like, I'm into you. Why would you ask me this question? She said, my dad does ask me this too at times. I'm like, okay, that says a lot. He says, well, maybe he sees something. Good point, Maddie. Why wouldn't Stevie directly answer? She just wants this conversation to end. He needs to know for sure before they get married, what is she into? So now they have a romantic date night. Body paint is pulled out. She says, you want to put this paint on my backside and I'll sit on the canvas. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. I guess he feels like it's a little too much, maybe a bit raunchy. So she does his arms instead. She puts the paint on his arm, and pushes the canvas on his arm. She's concerned about him being so homesick and talking to his family every day. She says it changes him. He feels she's not understanding and she's being selfish in this scenario. He feels like he's stuck in the middle. If he's not all in, Stevie says she doesn't want to get married, and she wants him to know it's not all his choice how this is going to end up. It's not all up to him. She has a choice too, whether to be a part of this marriage or back out. And he says as well, he has a choice, but he's like, if things aren't, if she's not respectful of me, she doesn't care about my feelings and all of this, if she's selfish, then maybe we shouldn't get married. I think it's really important to know what your partner is into, and if they can't just blankly say what they're into, then there's a problem. Either they don't know, they're confused, which is even worse. So I think it's important for you guys to talk something like that out, especially if you're getting married in 90 days. I think this person should pretty much know that information and more. I feel she does have a point about the family. And he says his mom's always crying on the phone. I will feel some kind of way if I'm talking to my mom every day. She's crying on the phone all the time. I see where she's coming from. I also kind of see where he's coming from. They have to figure out how to get over this issue. Or, like they're saying, maybe this marriage just is not meant to be. And not even sure if Maddie just wants her or if he just wants the US. That's another issue. Now Mark and Mina, the gang up. So basically the family ganged up on her previously and she goes and storms off. Mark defends her from the family who basically assuming she's a gold digging, especially his daughter Jordan. Then he goes after her. His mom comes in and comforts her, but then asks her to talk to Jordan and if Jordan can still come to the wedding. So she kind of put her on the spot. She agrees and apologizes to Jordan for calling her a snake after she demands an apology. Jordan also apologizes, but again, Mina isn't convinced. This is probably the second time she apologized. But she says she's gonna be the bigger person and take the first step. That's what Mina says. There's another black woman in their family. I see her in the shots. She appears to be around in the family. I'd like to hear from her, honestly. I assume she's an in-law or something. I want to know, is she thinking the way everyone else is thinking? Is she going to or want to defend Mina? Or is she like, I don't know. Either way, just curious about what the other black lady thinks. As they get back onto the ferry, Mark is relieved of that everything seems to be copacetic. Everything's good. Jordan's back invited to the wedding. And she's going to sign the prenup. But Mina confesses, hey, I just said that I would sign that in front of your family for their sake. But she really doesn't want to. So now Mark is at a loss again. He's put on the spot. And we're wondering, why wouldn't she sign the prenup? Now, that's always a question. Why not sign the prenup? And I understand why people don't want to sign prenups. But I feel like, okay, with the prenup, you can set your own terms. If there are certain things that you feel you need within the prenup, let Mark know. If he cares about you and wants to marry you, then I think he will put those things in place. As long as you're not trying to take him for everything he has, I think that he would be understanding that you would need something. But for her to turn around and do a whole 180 on the scenario, it makes her kind of look like a snake because she basically bold-faced lied to the family just to get out of that situation. I kind of don't trust her with that tactic she made. She needs to just be honest. I know she was in a rock and a hard place, but how are you going to say that and then the next minute tell him something totally different? Now, I could see if she went home and thought about it and then changed her mind, but she obviously just said it in the moment so she could get out of that scenario. And the next moment, she's not in. So that makes her look like a snake herself. I'm sorry, that's my thoughts. All right, we have Sean and Aaliyah, and I'm really noticing their age difference is really huge at this point. When I see 62 and 25 together, I'm like, Sean, I feel like you're taking advantage of this situation. Anyway, the two say they had a special night together last night. They consummated their relationship. The dog jumps in the bed. Now it's germy and Aaliyah hates germs and doesn't want to touch her face anymore. Sean turns on the special feature on the bed, the vibrator, and then he presses a button that allows the bed to sit up so he can push Aaliyah up out of the bed so they can start the day. I guess Aaliyah was too comfy to get out of bed. Aaliyah is grossed out about the toothbrush situation when going in the bathroom. The toothbrush was uncovered, laying on a soap dish. Sean didn't make a big deal about it, but Aaliyah was completely grossed out. So I have a story. I feel, to me, Sean is not that clean. He's kind of a guy's guy to me a bit. Not that he's nasty, but I was seeing someone and I was in their bathroom and they didn't have a toothbrush holder for their toothbrush and their toothbrush was just laying there by the sink. And I thought that was gross and I planned on getting them a toothbrush holder, but the relationship ended before that could happen. But I just thought, I think sometimes guys are just kind of gross about things. I mean, why does he not have a toothbrush holder to put the toothbrush in? At least it wouldn't be touching anything. But I don't know if Aaliyah will be happy with that, because Aaliyah's like, you flush the toilet and the air gets dirty when you flush the toilet. So Aaliyah was just freaked out by the air of the bathroom generally. I don't know what Aaliyah uses in her country for a toothbrush, but they have to go out now and get this toothbrush cover. So they're going out. They stop at a pharmacy, and they get some needs and the toothbrush cover. They get some toys for the dog, and Aaliyah sees an HIV home test kit and is excited about this. Aaliyah actually takes one every month, but not just because there's an open relationship going on between her and Sean, but from cuts or anything that, could give them some type of disease or germs, they get nervous and go to the 10th degree, I think, by getting an HIV test. It's a part of their germophobia. Now, I'm not trying to make fun of any people that are germophobic, but if you get HIV tests from getting cut, I think that's a little bit too much, unless you've had a bad cut and the cut was intermingled with someone else's blood or spit, then I can totally get it. But if you just had a bad cut and you could be anywhere, you might need a tetanus shot, but you may not need an HIV test. So the topic comes up while they're out having food. Will they be monogamous now that, again, there's no longer a long distance between them? I think they kind of talked about this before. Sean says he's happy with their intimacy as long as things stay the way that they are. And Aaliyah is supposed to be making some minor changes when it comes to transitioning. But Aaliyah says, I can't promise that I'm just going to make these minor changes. I can't limit the changes that I'm going to make during this transition. So if it is a full transition, perhaps, Sean says he won't be happy. He'll be missing the package that he needs to be satisfied. And he can't stay, I said the word package. He didn't say that, but we know what he means by he's not going to be satisfied if the full transition is made. And he can't promise he'll stay on board with that. This whole situation is new to both of them, and they're both trying to figure out what's going to be best and what will this be. Aaliyah says that they will always love Sean, but Sean didn't really promise the same thing in return, and the look on his face reads dissatisfaction. So Sean, I totally get it. What is love enough? Is there limitations to love? Is there certain things that you just like, what? I can't do this. It's a thought process. I know that I've heard of men transitioning to women while they were still married to women, and the women continuing the marriage with them. I assume that could be very difficult. So I assume that for Sean, that will be something similar for him, because he's into guys, and go from a guy to a girl, that's not what he wants. So it'll be a similar type of scenario. And my question is, does love have a limit? And would you be able to do that as well? Just another thought. Now with Juan and Jessica, Megan and Jess meet Jessica. They meet for drinks and they try to resolve this Juan cheating lie situation, because Megan confronted him like a year ago and he lied to her. And she is seeing that, basically Megan, for Megan, Jessica's her only friend, so she felt directly betrayed by Juan, because they're besties, right? She feels like it was her, which I don't really get that, but okay. And also, she feels betrayed by Jessica because Jessica knew and didn't tell her as well. It'll be hard for Juan to regain her trust. Of course, she's going to continue her bestie friendship with Jessica. Jess admits that we have our own relationships, and there are some things that we're just not going to share with each other about our personal lives as friends. Again, Megan's like, Juan has some proving to do, and Megan's going to be the maid of honor, so she has 90 days to get over this situation. She has to get over it fast. So she's hoping that she can process this year-old lie and getting over that very quickly. So when it comes to your BFFs, there's some things that you just feel like they don't need to be in your business about. I think that's a good question as well. Do you tell your BFF every little detail, especially when it comes to your relationship and your marriage? I think Jessica was kind of wise in holding some things back. And Megan seems a little bit too entitled within their relationship. You guys are friends, you aren't her. So it's a bit creepy, Megan. Hopefully, she does get over the scenario, and Megan is kind of put in her place, I guess, at this point in time, and she knows what the deal is, and hopefully, she is able to conform to that situation. But that's all we have here for our 90-day fiance recap chat. We'll be doing more in the future. Faith, love, and trends. What would you like to hear about? What would you like to talk about when it comes to these love and relationships reality shows? This is what I'm really focused on. I also do some shows from time to time. Check out our project, The Secret Tapes, where we talk about other topics as well and other programs. So, I'm gone for you guys this time, but you can always connect with me. Email me at cbiztv@yahoo.com. Check out our podcast on other platforms on our website at cbiztvmedia.com. There you can also find our store and support us there as well. So let's talk again, guys, and all the best. God bless. This is Irene.